Hello and welcome. Today I will be painting the USS PaloAlto. Inorganic structures aren't my strong suit, so this one is hopefully educational for me as much as it is for you. First and foremost is the sketch. You don't always have to sketch first, but I find it helpful. At least for the placement and to not waste paint. This is especially important for a project involving a reference because the small details you kind of want to catch a little bit earlier on. You may benefit from sketching a few times on paper before trying it on canvas, as it is easier to erase from paper than it is from canvas. The canvas kind of grabs the eraser more and can kind of ruin the prime. The first part I do when sketching is making the placements of each part, like the outer edges or where it meets, kind of like doing a cross section from the top side and the side to gauge the shape first to mitigate how much you have to erase. As you can tell, even with that, there's plenty of trial and error on my end. Now time to start laying some paint. As for the color of the water, I wanted it to be sort of a muted blue because it's the California waters, it's very polluted. With water and skies, I like to preferably not mix the paint before laying it on, so if it gets some natural texture, I can just run with it. It's more fun. You can say it's easier, but I just find it more fun, and I actually enjoy doing it more that way. The fun part about this was I was mixing the paint on the canvas as well as it was on my palette. So I was pushing it around on it, keeping some of the color that was still wet, some of the paint that was still wet on the canvas, and just pulling it with my brush. You can tell the water is very gray, and if you've ever seen California waters, that's pretty accurate. Next up is the boat itself. Because it's a concrete boat, it requires some aging, so I went with the sort of rusty brown that grays out as it goes to the less weathered parts. With the edges, you darken it, and as it moves in, you lighten it. But if it's on a fold, you darken it right before the edge to kind of accentuate the edge. But you don't do it too bad. You don't do it too bad. I mixed a little bit of white in with the brown and gradually mixed in more and more so that I can get a little brighter as it goes up to the surface of the boat and remove some of that rusty look as it goes up. The surface of the ship wasn't all that difficult. It was just trying to keep the color consistent between the front and the back as I kept consistently mixing the colors to get the depth look and get the edges and lighten it up, deepen it as I needed. It just felt right to keep the docks somewhat consistent, so I didn't wash the brush before proceeding. I kind of left some of that old paint from the boat and mixed it in with the brown I used for the dock. The main struggle with it came from noticing that the pillars and the rails weren't quite working together as I wanted them to. It was difficult to kind of keep this color the same while doing the details on such a small piece of the rail. I kept going back and forth with adding a lighter shade and a darker shade to try to stay consistent. But I kept going overboard one way or the other. At a point, I kind of ditched the idea of going precise and just decided to go with how it looked in the moment and just kept running with it. This piece still felt a bit flat, so I moved some black in with the brown mix and used that to deepen the edges. It's the first bit of black I used so far, and I just deepen the shadows with it. And with that, the piece is finished. The only thing left to do is to sign it and call it done. This one was much shorter than usual, but I'm glad I did it. Thank you for watching. Anyway, thank you for watching.